We are tonight's entertainment. This is episode 32 of the Cutting Room Movie Podcast, where we deliver, and not necessarily in this order, movie reviews, interviews, and a whole lot of hijinks. I am your humble host, Tom Detloff, and I am joined tonight by Max Cook and Dave Pace. Joseph Christiana will join us a little later on. Our special guest tonight will be health expert Sherry Strahl. She will be here. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, you're a disaster.
So, Sherry will be here in just a little while.
Why don't you be more ironic?
We also have 3 movie reviews tonight, including 2 from our classic review theme, Bodily Functions, as we will take a look at the 1975 Italian film Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom, and from 1979, the Oscar-winning film for Best Foreign Language Movie, The Tin Drum. But first, let's kick things off with a new DVD release review of the 2012 horror film Sinister, starring Ethan Hawke and the Mad Wait, hold on a second. Do you hear that, Dave? Dave, do you hear that?
What?
You don't hear that? Oh my God! He's back! It's the California Chainsaw Massacre! No!
They're crazy! You gotta make us stop!
Nothing. He's just a cook. Shut up, you bitch hog.
Who will survive? And what will be left of them? It's the California Chainsaw Massacre.
Dave Pace Bonello of Fangoria magazine wrote in an email to myself and my cohorts here on the Cutting Room about how he wanted to do a mini episode based around 2012's Sinister. Quote, Dave, I want to tell the internet what a piece of shit this movie is? Wow, really, Dave Pace? A piece of shit? Is that really what he thought? Because I dearly respect Dave and his mind and his takes on the world and movies and such, but I gotta say, for the first 95 or so of the 110 minutes of Sinister, I thought I was watching my new favorite horror film since The Human Centipede. I mean, I literally jumped a lot, and I never jump. I also never get scared anymore by these movies, and Sinister had my heart racing. And I watched it during the day with my buddy Brett, with the SoCal sun blazing outside my living room windows, and I still had to slap my skin to stop it from crawling. Oh no, but then something terrible happened. And not that great, scary movie kind of terrible either. No, I'm talking about that kind of terrible that happens when a movie you are totally crushing on takes a blind curve and crashes into a wall of doom. And you bust through the windshield like a bloody rag doll and land on the road, only to be run over by a truck containing the cargo of every cinematic device you loathe and abhor. Now listen, there's no way I can introduce Sinister without revealing what happens at the end. I'm sorry, I really am, but it's seriously the thrust of my intro here. I am constantly being let down by seemingly magnificent modern horror masterworks that completely fall apart by the third act. No, you don't get it, or maybe you do. It's a very serious epidemic. Take this Insidious, for example. Once it was revealed that the menace was a demon-y dude in a Darth Maul mask, I wanted to run out of the theater screaming, and not from mortal fear. Sinister had everything I want in a great horror film. First off, I'm hardly an Ethan Hawke fan, and I thought he killed it here. I also really cared about his family. I cared. Not about Ethan so much, as he's such a selfish cock in this thing, but the mom and kids, I thought they were great. And I like how the law shows up and it's a split over who accepts Ethan and who doesn't. Trite, true, but I really got into Ethan's awkward relationship with the deputy, who, incidentally, guys, was played by James Ransone, who freaked the piss out of me as Tate in Ken Park, written by Harmony Korine. In that film, he masturbates himself to death, and you see real semen spurt from his real wiener. Just trying to keep it on track here with the theme. But back to Sinister. The menace here? Magul! Terrifying! And the dark havoc he wreaks via old Super 8 films is so unsettling, I'm chilled to the bone just rethinking about it. I mean, even Vinny D'Onofrio shows up to tell us how dreadful Magul is. What a great way to incorporate the whole found footage thing, too. And don't even get me started on the ferociously phantasmal score by Christopher Young, which I immediately purchased on iTunes. Oh no. But then, I remember that Magul was really not the true menace, but the orchestrator of the horrors that happen in Sinister. That would be okay if this was a movie about Charles Manson making his followers go out and kill people at night, but evidently, Magul makes children do his bidding. Little rascals, more like it. Little rascals who tilt their heads with dark circles under their eyes and shush you. That's right, I get shushed at the end of Sinister. You don't shush me! Oh, and Magul? Forget about it. Oh, Magul's long gone by then. No, that dude's moved on to the pre-production party for, I don't know, Sinister 2, The Return of Mr. Boogie. And what does he do? He leaves the orphans from Annie behind to come play with us forever and ever and ever. Oh, Magul. It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. Gonna hold an axe to Dad. Gonna chop off his head. That's rad. It's a hard knock life. Kill me. Oh, brilliant director, writer, Scott Derrickson. What did you do? What did you do? You had me, baby. Oh, Sweetums. You could have had your way with me any way you wanted. I was your bitch up until those little soul-trapped shits showed up. I was your girl. I would have worn a dress. I would have gaped for you, Scott Derrickson. Gaped! You're so talented. But the kids, Scott, the kids. Come on, man! Gentlemen, what we have here in the end, I'm sorry to say, might be a disappointment. And it kills me to say that, because the arrival of those kids at the end totally discredits all that happens prior for me. And I feel like it didn't have to go down that way. Damn it! You gotta trust your boogeymen, brothers. They're enough. They're always, always enough. Magul was enough. And if the motivation for Magul to attack these families was to murder mom and dad and however many siblings and keep one child for himself to feed on its soul forever, then that would have been enough for me. Awesome. Spine tingles? Check. Sounds about right. But when it's revealed that all you did, Magul, was put the children into murderous supernatural slave labor while you simply stood around on the sidelines the whole time, looking like a cross between The Crow and Heath Ledger's Joker, well then it's clear you can't be trusted to scare us so darkly to the pit of our beings like we deserve, Magul! Magul! I was stunned silent by your visage at first, so frightened for what was to come. I wanted this one. I wanted this one badly.
Well, you didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
No. First of all, I agree with you 100% that the first, particularly the opening shot of this film is extremely creepy and it's very enticing. Like, you know, you're really creeped out and you're immediately horrified and you're trapped in the movie immediately. And then 25 minutes roll by and you're still into it. And then shit goes down. It goes downhill. And it goes downhill fast. Pace, I know you got a lot to say about this movie. So let's start with you.
Jesus Christ. So, okay, first off, I just want to say right out up front, Max, you are fucking dead on in terms of saying that this movie was so promising. This was a fucking Roman Polanski movie for about an hour, you know, and it was
less than
it was
that.
so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
And I remember, or I saw it in the theater, I remember hating it so badly after I walked out. And when I watched it again for the show, I didn't really remember everything. I just remembered hating it. And I started watching it again, and I'm like, what did I hate about this? This is excellent. And then we get about an hour into the movie, and I remember, oh God, I hated everything because this was terrible. And
So, Mr. Boogie did not give you the creeps?
okay, so look,
well, hold on. Before you're going to go off, I just want to say one quick thing. Mr. Boogie, who, by the way, has a unique resemblance to one King Diamond of Merciful Fate.
Dio.
And I will tell you that King Diamond it wasn't even scary in the 80s. So to throw a King Diamond lookalike at people and think that they're going to be creeped out by it is completely ridiculous. But go on, Dave.
I actually pinpointed the exact moment this movie went off the rails and died. I know exactly the scene, and we're going to get there because in order to exercise this movie from my soul, I actually had to write out a series of 10 questions, which I am going to pose to both of you and to our listeners, and maybe our listeners will be able to help me make some fucking sense of this movie, because it killed me how disappointing this was. So, let's do this. Question number one. Question number one. Why create a plot around a murder mystery and then halfway through abandon the whole mystery thing? This movie is a total bait and switch. Up front, you get this Polanski-esque horror thriller about a true crime writer who gets too close to his subject and may or may not be going crazy in a pathetic reach for one last venal kick at fame and glory. Are the townspeople fucking with him to drive him out? Is he losing his mind because of the gruesome subject matter and detaching from reality? Is he going nuts because of the financial and emotional stress put on him by his wife and children? Is there really a unified theory of all these crimes and a single killer responsible? Is it a cult? Is it fucking insane devil worshippers? Is it sheriff? Is it Deputy Andy? What horrible secrets are lurking beneath the surface of this town? Is this like Blue Velvet? Is this like Twin Peaks? First hour of the movie, these are all the things you're thinking. You're asking yourself, wow, there's all these questions posed about what's going on, and you're really into what's happening, and you understand what this guy's all about. And then all this gets completely fucking ruined in one scene. And so this is question 2. Why did anyone think it was a good idea to confirm it was some supernatural demon thing definitively for the audience a few pages from where you dangled the possibility in front of us? The scene is the one where Ellison is looking at the murder films on his laptop. And I'm going to spoil the shit out of this movie. I just want everybody to know I'm spoiling the shit out.
Max, he's only on question 2, by the way.
And there's a big freeze frame.
Has he asked us any questions yet?
You guys can jump in at any time.
No, I think the platform's yours. Let's go.
Yeah, go.
So he's got a freeze frame of the fucking Bagul demon thing on his screen, and he hears a noise. He turns to look away from the laptop, and we see the demon thing turns to look in the same direction. Okay? So it's like, well, fucking thanks. You know, like every single interesting question posed by the first hour of the movie collapses at that point. And that whole thing doesn't add anything to the story. It literally just removes possibilities. You know, it's fucking, why not cut this and keep the audience guessing for just a little bit longer about what the hell's going on?
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
So, and for anyone who might say that we still don't know for sure after that, you need to understand that Ellison does not see this happening. Only we do. So it's a direct confirmation to the people watching the movie that what we are dealing with is a demon ghost thing and not any of the other theories that were previously possible.
And he he had just discovered, right, the
exactly
on the film. He had just discovered that there was somebody else in that room.
Absolutely.
And they go as far as to do that shit like within 2 minutes of him discovering that.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess all the fun, it's all over at that point. It's
Mhm.
fucking Bagul,
Yeah, they shit on us.
So, which leads me to question 3, because now we got to talk about Bagul. What the
Yeah.
fuck is a Bagul? And who the hell came up with this? Seriously, fire that fucking guy.
Is it
For
is
1
it
hour.
is it Bagul with a B?
Bagul.
The whole time I was saying Mag.
You were saying Magul.
Oh
I
god.
think that's hilarious, though, so let's roll with it.
All right. So go on.
What? Are we Magul or Bagul here?
I'm going Bagul, but
You're
whatever.
gonna go with Bagul. All right.
Just
I'm
because
gonna go with Magul.
I love the Bagul name. I think that's hilarious. But so for over an hour, the movie sets up this big thriller mystery murder plot, and we wonder about all these possibilities, right? And then the fucking movie completely destroys all that in the Bagul look scene. Okay? But then where any last vestiges of this movie being good get driven into the ground at fucking Mach 5 is when Ellison is on the phone with the professor. Well, not on the phone, on Skype with the professor guy. Right? Like, there is so much wrong with this, I don't even know where the fuck to begin. Okay? So, Ellison has to talk to an expert in occult symbolism. And here are my problems with this scene. This scene which decapitates the whole film and leaves it to die in a gutter unloved. Number 1, they talk over Skype or fucking iChat or whatever the hell it is. I can't explain how much I hate this. I get this may be a sign of the times or whatever, and people talk over Skype all the time. We do the show over Skype. I do a lot of my interviews on Skype. The difference is I'm not making a goddamn movie about my Skype calls and asking people to pay me money to see it. Why? Because nobody wants to see Skype call the movie. They want to see
Skype call.
Skype call the movie.
The movie.
it. But it's fucking true. People want a scene, they want a setting, and they want drama. Right. So why couldn't they meet at the professor's office? He could have
that was weird.
Like, why? He could have this awesome, creepy...
Yeah, right,
weird
Dave.
occult shit down.
Yeah, candles and
that?
Statues and all.
D'Onofrio did it from home in an hour.
Yeah, they could have used. They could have used. Yeah,
cheap. They're
they could have used Max's office at his condo. It would have heightened the atmosphere.
Like, it could have been this really visually interesting thing and helped me believe that this guy actually knew what the fuck he's talking about. Or we could have got a scene in like a really old library or something with creepy gargoyles, maybe some shadowy people who may or may not be watching Ellison.
A hint that he might have something to do with it.
Of course, people following him around, people looking up in their books to check him out. You know what I mean? Like, and then maybe a chase scene. Give us an action chase scene, where he's chased by angry townspeople who are keeping tabs on him and trying to drive him out of town, or chased by the cultists who are behind all this and don't want him uncovering the town's secrets, or being chased by the real killer, or chased by the cops, who don't want him uncovering their incompetence like he did with his book, right? Or maybe Ellison chased by jumping at his own shadows and mistaking innocent coincidences because he's fucking crazy. Something cinematic. Instead, we get a fucking Skype call. Bullshit. Okay? So
which is what we offer all you listeners for nothing.
Exactly. It's lazy bullshit. Okay? And my second problem with this is that he gives away the whole fucking plot. Literally, the movie ends here in terms of story progression. What's the problem? Oh, well, you got yourself a Bagul. See? He gives up all the mechanics by which this Bagul works and does it just matter-of-factly, and no other possibility is entertained by the film. It's just a big shoulder shrug and, hey, buddy, you got a case of the fucking Baguls here. Sorry.
Oh, Bagul.
Fucking Bagul. Right? So, and my third problem with this scene, and I think this is the worst part of this scene. This is the part that fucking kills me. So we hear everything about the Bagul from this guy except anything about how one might go about defeating it or foiling its plot. Seriously, this movie spells out everything about the Bagul for you in a goddamn Skype conversation, except for the one thing it needs in order to set up the drama for the next half of the film. Tell the fucking guy what might be done to defeat it. I mean, Jesus, have these people never read a screenplay before? Have they never seen a fucking movie? Where's the tension in it's a Bagul and you're basically fucked? Look, I don't know anything about fucking Baguls. Neither does the rest of the audience. Neither does our hero. This is the part where you tell us something about it that might reveal a weakness or a potential way to counter its goals. It's vulnerable to X. It needs to accomplish Y and Z before this date and time. Give me fucking something, for fuck's sakes. Then we can start to figure out how Ellison is going to try and fight back. This is where drama comes from. Our hero gains new knowledge, and now he figures out how to use it to foil the Bagul and save his family. Will his plan succeed? Will it fail? What is at stake? It sets out clear objectives for everybody involved. We know what Ellison needs to do, we know what the Bagul needs to do, and we know what the price of failure is. It's the soul of his daughter and the lives of the rest of his family, including his own. Everything is neat and makes sense, even if only when the internal logic of the film. Instead, we get a vague understanding of the goals of the Bagul, fucking eats souls, lives in images, uses images as a portal to our world, and no real understanding of how a normal person like Ellison might be able to thwart these goals.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
you know more about Zool and Ghostbusters than you
it's
know about Bagul and Sinister.
it's funny that you mentioned Zool and Ghostbusters because uh, another show that I listened to actually said that that whole scene with D'Onofrio was like an episode of the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Oh my
And
god.
Egon just like looked him up in like Bagul and Tobin's Spirit Guide. Right?
Oh my god.
Like
Well, yeah,
terrible.
exactly. Go on, Dave. I want to listen some more.
So number four, my question.
4.
Number four.
Dave, number 4, please continue.
We should have just let Dave do the review.
I
This
know.
is so much better.
Why?
It would have been the first legitimate 45-minute introduction.
But okay, this is serious. This is
I know you're serious. Go on, please.
terrible. Why is the reaction to the Bagul news and the entire rest of the film a series of uninformed, knee-jerk reactions made without any real thought or further consideration whatsoever? Why is it that Ellison has no plan? Everything that happens after the professor gives away the Bagul is a witless reaction to other stimuli. Like Ellison never really thinks about any of this. The closest we get to thoughtful planning by this guy is to connect Bagul is said to live in images bullshit to the films and then attempt to burn the films, which of course doesn't work. So plan B is pack up and move out. He literally doesn't try anything else. I mean, for a movie that gave us a fucking Skype scene, it never gave us a scene where he Google searches Bagul. Right? What the fuck? There's no, I'm going to the library and I'm going to figure out how to beat Bagul. It's none of that shit.
No.
He never gets the professor to tell him how to stop it or refer him to some other expert who might know. The outcome of the film has already become a foregone conclusion, and we just watch helplessly as Ellison blindly does stuff that does nothing to alter the outcome of the film, and in fact turns into this really smarmy, just as planned, pseudo twist ending that makes no goddamn sense. Number 5, and this is the one that when I saw it in the theater, I was almost yelling at the screen. I wanted to get up and yell at the screen. So question number 5, why is the drug that they use to sedate the victim this glowing goo? Who the fuck would drink a cup of glowing goo? Literally, it just looks like stuff that you would pour out of a glue stick.
First of all, Dave, hold on a second. I would drink glowing goo. I
drink the
so.
glow. Well, you're from Jersey, right?
Yeah,
So
right. I think I would.
But seriously, like, how would you not notice that there's like a big thing of glowing ooze in your fucking drink, and drink it down, drink enough of it to render yourself unconscious? Like, do the people who make these movies think we are dumb and need this giant visual cue that the drink is drugged. Like earlier in the movie, and this is what got me thinking the second time I watched it. Because earlier in the movie, Ellison is facing the possibility of calling the police and ending this whole thing. He looks at a stack of his last bestseller and he hangs up the phone. He never tells anybody that he changed his mind because he wants to relive his past glory and possibly eclipse it. He doesn't need to. The camera and his actions alone relate this inner conflict to us perfectly. So why the hell couldn't he stifle a yawn, look puzzled, and then maybe look at the mug and let a creeping dread of realization watch over his face? Ethan Hawke is an actor, right? So who stopped him from acting here and decided we needed glowing goo to upstage the guy? I mean, we already know the MO of the killings is drugging the drinks first to incapacitate the victims. Do we need anything more than something like what I just described to convey the fact that Ellison drank a drugged cup of coffee? Somebody thinks so. Somebody stupid and cynical who made this movie. Question number 6. If Bagul lives in images and eats the souls of children, why doesn't Bagul use imagery children might actually see as a matter of course in their daily lives to live in and lure them from? Like a fucking
Right.
or something.
Yeah, like how come he's not lurking around a Curious George episode?
Fucking right. Absolutely.
Or an episode of Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness.
Absolutely,
Exactly.
Max. Very well said.
Right?
Good point.
I mean, why is he lurking in fucking 8mm murder films? Is he trying to make a sport of this? Is it
Oh, Bagul! Got your Bagul right here.
I got fucking Bagul.
I got a fucking Bagul in my fucking badge.
But like, is he just trying to spice shit up after thousands of years of doing this stuff?
He's trying to challenge himself, maybe, Dave.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's the only possible explanation. Which kind of leads into question 7. Why would Bagul create an elaborate plot that potentially exposes its existence to the world at large and offer victims a chance to defeat him? Nothing about this makes any sense. Does Bagul need an alibi? Is it trying to make it look like a serial killer just to mess with people? Is there some cosmic rule that he needs to leave his symbol at the scene?
Well, Dave, like all serial killers want to get caught. I mean, that's how they, that's how they get their fame.
We're gonna see Dexter get caught.
You think so?
Yeah, or take himself out.
Yeah,
because that's everything to the serial killer.
Well, which I guess leads me to the question: is fucking Bagul just trapped in self-defeating behavior over his deeply rooted feelings of guilt about eating the souls of children? Does Bagul need a hug?
He's been doing it for such a long time, Dave. Might be wearing on him.
What about his mother?
Dave, centuries.
There's an old song about a giant that got tired of eating kids and started to feel guilty about it, and he started to eat eels instead, and he died.
Were the eels caught in a dead horse head?
Oh, God, help us, right? Oh my God. God, help us.
Question 8.
Why is Deputy Andy a bumbling rube in the first scene that we see him in? And then he comes, I don't know if his name's fucking Andy. I just call him Deputy Andy. But he comes back with a fucking criminology degree and a totally different character. Is Deputy Andy a character in this film or just whatever the plot needs him to be at any given time?
I kind of like that, Dave. I thought he was like, is he the menace? I, for a while, was believing he was Bagul.
But he doesn't hold a character, Max. That's my problem. It's like the first scene, he's like bumbling Sheriff Andy. I don't know nothing.
That's horror film cliche 101. Come on.
Of course
it is. Comes on like that guy, but then we learn who he really is,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like he's really sharp, actually.
I mean, look at Norman Bates. He starts out just this charming, sweet guy, and the next thing you know, you find out he's into taxidermy and mopping up Janet Leigh.
I have a pet theory about Deputy Andy. that I actually don't include in any of the shit I'm ranting about. But I have this theory that there were two characters. There was a Deputy Andy and there was another guy. And they cut the other guy for some reason. And they just made Deputy Andy, do his lines or something. Because it doesn't make sense. So, question 9. At what point did everyone in this movie give up and stop giving a shit? Was it the first table read, or did it happen later? And number 10. This is the most important question, and this is the question of our time. When are we going to stop letting lackwit, hack job money men dip their manicured LA fingers in the movie pie? Why did no one have the guts to do this for Sinister? It's clear to me there's a massive disconnect between the first and second half of the film. One half was well made and competently told. One was a silly disaster with no tension, no story, and no real resolution. Did the director suddenly get massive brain damage? Did the writer die halfway through and had to replace him with a chimp? Here's my theory. Bean-counting dickheads got a hold of this film. This explains everything. They saw the first half and they shit themselves and realized they had some semi-cerebral Roman Polanski thing going on. And this thing was slated to be the studio's big Halloween movie. Holy shit, not acceptable. So they started messing with it. Exhibit A. The Bagul looks at the camera from a static image on the laptop scene. Nobody who fucking cares about storytelling the same way the first half of this film cared about storytelling would let this scene make the cut. It's a total afterthought. Some chucklehead with a fucking vintage Rolex who has never had a creative thought in his life but put money into this film thought it would look cool and didn't consider the implications to the story. It's a lazy hack scene and a lazy hack put it there. And Exhibit B, the glowing goo in the drinks. The same asshole figured that audiences were too dumb to get the whole drug drinks thing, even after it's explicitly stated. So instead of letting actors and directors do their goddamn jobs, Dickless the Wonder Producer decides the right thing to do is create a visual cue so jarring, so inconceivably stupid. I can't even imagine the kind of person you need to be so out of touch with moviegoers. The naked contempt for the intelligence of the audience pisses me off.
Hey guys, now's a good time to add Joe to the conversation, shall I?
Yeah, let's bring him in.
Joe.
And while you're doing that, Max, let me ask you this. I mean, you brought this question up to John Schnepper, guest on our last episode, about where this genre is going. I mean, Max, this fucking horror genre is getting worse and worse.
It hurts my feelings.
It's a big disappointment, dude.
Yeah, it hurts my feelings, and I'm really tired of having a dangling carrot or dangling bloody carrot, hung over. I mean, guys, ever since we left Horror Palace, I continue to be that same Max that every single new horror film that pops up on Netflix, every crummy, bottom of the heap, Z-level piece of tripe that shows up on Netflix, recently added to horror, I give a shot. I give it a shot. And I have a 20-minute rule. And I'm telling you, all the time, it's gone in 20 minutes.
I know. Listen, dude, you and I have been discussing films for a year now on this show, Max. And ever since we've left Horror Palace, you've not once said to me or Joe or Dave, hey, you guys got to see this horror film. You got to see this. There's nothing. It's been silence from you. Dead silence.
I know. And along comes this Sinister, and I'm hurt by it. I think this Scott Derrickson really has something, and I am hurt by what he did. I don't understand it. I think Dave is spot on. I think there was some sort of weird intervention. All anyone wants is a hit. And these movies are hits. And if they're a hit, then you've got franchise. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what it's all about now. Sinister 2, Sinister 3.
I can't even tell you, guys, the crap they took on the Leatherface dynasty or whatever, revisiting that family and trying to do something new and fresh with that awesome boogeyman. They failed miserably. They slapped 3D on it. I bought the ticket wanting to take the ride. If you want to see a movie in 3D, you're paying $25 to sit there and have a fist shoved up your butt. It's not fair. It's not right. And I don't know what happened to all the horror masters who can fix this.
Yeah, and exactly. There's not even like a cool team of I mean, not even a team, but I mean, back in the late '70s and early '80s, I mean, you had Carpenter, you had Romero, even you could throw De Palma in there if you wanted to.
And they all had horror strokes, Tom, just like Albert Brooks. Just like Albert Brooks had a comedy stroke. These guys that created these movies, and all the derivative films, they're sitting back. I don't know what they're doing. They're sitting back.
Yeah, even the greatest director, arguably the greatest director of all time, wanted to make a horror movie, Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, no argument. There's no arguing that he's the greatest director of all time. Joe Christiana's with us.
Joe, how are you?
Hey, guys, I just wanted to chime in and let you know how much I loved Sinister, man. It was beautiful.
Fuck you.
What's going on here? What's the beef with Sinister, guys? I mean,
Dave just, I mean, literally, and Max, correct me if I'm wrong, just talked for a half hour straight.
Yeah.
After Max,
my review got flushed down the toilet, and along comes Dave with 10 questions. And it was inspired, believe me.
So what's the crux of it, Dave? What's going on? I really don't have.
The crux of it is
okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm completely on board with Max and his assessment of the film, in that what we have here is such an amazing potential film here. I was really interested in this Ellison character. I loved the true crime writer angle. I was interested in what was going to happen to him. He's a total prick, but I liked that about him. I loved the scene, Max. And fucking get with me here, because I love the scene where his wife's like, he's talking about his legacy, and his books are his legacy, and his wife's like, no, your fucking family is your legacy, you fucking asshole.
Amazing.
It was a great scene. Yeah. It was fucking great, and it was like everything's going along so well. I'm like, man, this is a good movie. This could be a Roman Polanski. I kept seeing a Roman Polanski movie here, and then fucking Bagul shows up and just Bagul's the whole thing up, and it just goes to hell. I'm sorry, buddy. You got a case of the Baguls here.
Let me tell you something. You gotta get rid of that fucking Bagul.
Oh my God!
Like, what do? You call the fucking exterminator to come over and take care of your fucking Bagul problem in the attic? Like, what?
I got Brandon Lee with face makeup over here. I gotta get rid of him.
Max, who do you think Tony Soprano would be more irritated by, Phil Leotardo or Bagul?
Phil. Phil's the bane of his existence.
Oh my
Joe,
God.
it's good to hear your voice.
Hey, it's good to be on. Sorry I was late coming to the party here, guys, but thanks for catching me up here.
What did you have to do?
Oh, my daughter's birthday today, so
that's very sweet.
Yeah, dinner and birthday cake, so it was very nice.
That's very sweet, Joe. It's really tough that you are so miserable doing this show, because you're so good, you're so funny, and it's just like, you hate doing this show. I mean,
that's not true. It's not true.
You come to life when Billy comes on, for sure. Like, that's like your crutch. But you underestimate.
Well, that's not true. I had a blast. What was the last one I was on? Was the Crudes one? I had a blast with Tom, talking to Tom about that, about the Crudes.
I wasn't on the Crudes.
It was a great. It was a great experience, actually, that show. So.
Well, that was a great show. I wasn't on that one, but I'm talking about, when we're all doing it and I'm here and whatever.
Right.
I just, No,
I really do enjoy
it. Now, it seems like...
Listen, it's easy when you're working so hard or something to get to start taking it too seriously. That's all. And I put a lot of creative energy and time into it. And so I just, once in a while, I just have to remind myself that it's all play. That's
okay. All. So will you have some fun tonight with us?
I sure will.
We've got some crazy movies, Joe, to talk about.
Yes, I do. Yes, I want to thank you, because Salo may have been the most difficult film that I've had to write a review or an introduction here for, and I think it might actually be it was actually probably the most rewarding experience as far as writing the review. So I don't know how it'll play, but all
right,
it was a good experience. So
let's stay on focus here for a few more minutes, because we still haven't really gotten what Joe feels about Sinister, Joe. So why don't you take it away for a couple seconds?
Oh, I heard, I don't want to repeat anything that you guys said, and I don't know what you guys
all
said,
right.
so I'm just going to kind of give a couple of quick thoughts here, very general or overview thoughts here, is that I think that my expectations are pretty low for horror films, so it didn't elicit such a violent response, so I was really curious to hear what Dave's violent reaction to this film was. I really didn't have it. I think that is a byproduct of all the films that we spend so much time in the horror palace, that I've learned to kind of lower expectations for what's coming out in horror these days. That said, though, I mean, because I haven't been watching horror film over horror film, I think this actually might be the first strictly horror genre film that I've seen since we've been watching Horror Palace. I've really taken a break. I actually felt really like a sense of dread watching the film, and I thought there were some really beautiful things happening in it. But I do recognize that the end kind of got convoluted, and I guess what I'm hearing is that you guys were unhappy that it sort of fell into this sort of whatever's happening with Hollywood kind of convoluted ending or whatever that's only just setting up a franchise. That sounds like basically what's going on here.
Yeah, we're pissed, Joe.
Okay. You wanted it to be a Polanski film.
And I'll tell you, well, it did. I mean, I limited to about 20, 30 minutes. Dave gave it for 60 minutes. But when I was watching the movie, at the beginning, I got the same kind of feeling Max had at at the beginning of the film. Max said that he's like, well, maybe this is maybe I got another Human Centipede here, where I was moved by the Human Centipede. I thought that was really good cinema. And looking at this film for 20, 30 minutes, particularly the first few minutes, I was like, boy, this has a shot at just being good cinema. Fuck horror. Fuck it just being a genre film.
Well, I thought it was good. I thought it was good genre filmmaking, actually. As far as good filmmaking, I don't know, there's really familiar stuff happening in the beginning of the film, bordering on cliche, if not just outright cliche,
Yeah,
and some of that exposition is just really really ham-handed, you know what I mean? Which I didn't mind, I was enjoying it. It's kind of B movie horror type of stuff, and Ethan Hawke is really good in it. He's always interesting to watch, and he can carry a film.
You like Ethan Hawke?
I don't. Well,
I
all right.
don't.
Well, he could carry a movie that is a B movie.
Carry a movie where? Where could he carry a movie?
Well, look. Well, listen. Look. If it was an unknown actor in this film, say that movie Insidious, I didn't know those actors, so I didn't find them very captivating, and I wasn't really interested in watching what they were up to. Where this film, without somebody like Ethan Hawke, might start to fall apart. I guess I don't know. I can watch Ethan Hawke. Sometimes he bugs me. Sometimes he's all right.
Hey, Tom, I'm a guy who, like I said in my review, does not care for Ethan Hawke, and I loved him in this. What didn't you like about Ethan Hawke?
I just think that I'm so annoyed. Every time I watch him, I just think of that scene at the end of what's that fucking Ben Stiller movie, that Generation X movie, that he said.
Yeah, it's not Singles, it's the other one.
Yeah, what the hell's the name of that movie? Anybody? I don't know. At the end of the movie, he's singing that Violent Femme song with that dumb face, and he's so over emotional. I just Fuck Ethan Hawke.
But that's a young Ethan Hawke.
I don't care if it's young, old, in the middle. I don't care, Max. He sucks.
Does it bother you that he writes
about Before
poetry?
Sunrise and
I can't stand. And I like Linklater. I can. Even there's a good his best work with Linklater is in a movie called Tape. And
Tape was excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of overplays it in that movie too. If that movie could be better. If it was someone else besides Ethan Hawke playing that character, because it's a really interesting character, and he just overdoes it, man. Yeah, he's just Max. You might have liked the character itself, in the film, and not so much Ethan Hawke, because picture Pat Healy playing that character.
Well, yeah, of course, but no, seriously though, I think the fact that I thought he was so good that I forgot it was Ethan Hawke, I think that's a real testament to him and his acting chops. And I'm with you, Tom, on the Ethan Hawke. Especially, I don't need you reading poetry. I don't need you dating Uma Thurman. All of that iconic crap does attach itself to a performance. When that actor first comes out, you're like, oh God.
Max, you're really buying the intellectual sweater he's wearing, the cliche.
Right. But
you're really buying into that?
No, I'm not buying into that.
Like as an actor, he's.
But he has a presence on
What
screen.
can I do to be a family man, author?
No.
What can I wear? What?
No. I hear you. But the fact is, he starts out being a total dick, and I thought that was really a great way to set up his character. He's a total dick. You're rooting for mom. You're rooting for the kids. You're kind of on the fence with the law, but he's a dick, and he's playing a dick very, very, very well. Maybe because he's a dick in real life.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe the one thing a bad actor could do is be a dick, and play a dick. I mean, I'm not saying that, a bad actor could do it better than a good actor, but, a bad actor could be a convincing dick on screen.
Did you know that Forbes magazine declared Sinister one of the 10 best horror films of the past decade? As well as The Innkeepers. And I didn't understand how those two films wound up on the same list. Because you guys know how I feel about The Innkeepers. I cried about it on this show like an idiot. And
I think, I don't know. I know Joe reads Forbes.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what those people think.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on in the horror community, Dave? What's the general reaction from it?
To Sinister?
Yeah.
I know Fangoria panned it. Didn't like it. The review was not terrible, but it wasn't favorable, as I recall. Which I was really surprised because, I just, for some reason, I thought we were going to suck its dick, and we didn't, so it's good. But I think a lot of audiences really like this film. And it sucks because I want to be like, I want to be able to stand up and be contrary to the cynical fucking assholes who decide that they have to make a scene with glowing goo to tell you that there's poison in a cup and try and tell them that audiences aren't fucking stupid and you don't have to treat people like they're fucking morons. But a lot of people love this movie, so I don't know, it's a real head shake.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Like it turns into like it starts as a real almost human horror film, and then it becomes something really slick and packaged. I get it, man. I totally get it. And especially
you can see the interference. You can see the interference. You can see the studio dickhead who interfered with that movie.
Yeah. Well, this dude who directed this, Tom, he did oh shit, man. The Day the Earth Stood Still not too long ago, right? Did anybody see that? Because that sounded like a Hollywood wet dream. Actually, I haven't seen that one.
What,
with Keanu?
The Keanu Reeves one?
I don't know. 2006, the Day the Earth Stood Still, I believe.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? So I don't know. That sounds like a Hollywood package film. And like, listen, man, I wasn't going into this expecting anything but a package, you know what I mean? And I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised at how rooted this felt and how they did pay attention to the theme of this guy's hubris, coming into direct conflict with, his affection for his family, and he had to kind of make that sort of moral decision. I mean, that was really nicely played. And then
but what about Bagul, Joe? Bagul.
Yeah, I get it. And I think that my just sort of overall takeaway here is that I didn't expect that much going in, and I can understand for some like real horror lovers, and I am a horror lover. I would have liked to have seen a good film. I don't think it's in me to get pissed about it, the way that you and Max are, Dave.
Oh, I'm very pissed, and I got to tell you something else, Joe and fellas. This needs to end where at the very last frame, right before the credits, the menace pops up and screams at me. If that doesn't discredit the glory that this film could have been, nothing does.
Yeah, I mean that's a just a bit of trivia here. That's a nod to, I believe, Dave, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's Carrie where the hand pops
Yeah.
up out of the
Yeah,
earth.
yeah.
I think that was the
Fucking
first.
so scary,
I
dude.
think it became such a cliche since
Yeah.
then, and
Then it
I
was
think people just
Friday
loved
the
it.
13th, right? Uses it at the end.
Oh,
The
they do
original.
that. Well, Friday the 13th just beat it to hell. They made basically a naked gun pratfall out of it. Yeah.
Hey guys, I do want to start wrapping up this segment because I want to bring in Sherry to talk to Joe about his health and it's. But I do want to say this too, Max, that Forbes magazine also lists The Orphan Killer on there as one of the best horror films in the past 20 years. So for all the people out there. And The Orphan Killer, Dave, as you know, is banned in Germany.
Yeah.
Dave,
And
what's better, Sinister or The Orphan Killer?
yeah, Dave.
Well, when you've got two titans of the horror world going up against each other, it's very difficult to judge because, on one hand, The Orphan Killer is such an iconic film, and The Orphan Killer himself has really become sort of this generation's, Jason Voorhees, or Freddy Krueger.
Absolutely.
So it's I don't even think it's fair to compare them. You've clearly got two of the most talented minds in horror films today. I think maybe only a collaboration would be the right thing for them to do.
Fair enough. Let's do some ratings. Max, kick us off, dude.
What's our rating system again, Tom?
Oh my God!
Rent it, own it, or
Avoid. Yeah.
Squirrel, chipmunk, or raccoon?
No, I would say at least rent it. At least rent
Really?
it. I would just for all those riches that could have been, just prepared to be screwed over, stupefied, and reduced to what they think is the fact that you're an idiot.
What are you doing, Joseph?
Oh, I would say rent. I'd say rent it if if you've seen all the horror films that are out there. I mean,
Jesus
it's
Christ.
fun. It's a
Pace,
fair.
help me out here.
fair
All right,
film.
be quiet, Joe. Pace, help me out.
Don't give these fucking people your money.
Thank you. I'm with Dave.
Don't give these fucking people
Not a dime.
Fuck them.
That's what we're
These
here for,
people
Dave.
think you need glowing goo. These people think you need to have glowing fucking glow stick glue in a cup so that you know.
Why does
that there's
glowing glue make you so angry?
Because it's so insulting. It's so because what I picture happening is like that fucking producer and a bunch of the guys are watching some dailies and they're like, I don't know. Oh, I don't know if people are gonna understand that this guy just got poisoned. I don't know if people are gonna get that. Maybe if we cut open a glow stick and we pour the stuff in the cup, people will be able to know that he got poisoned. And the idiocy of that conversation and the fact that the response to that wasn't to hit that fucking guy, I just don't even understand. Like the fact that somebody was like, I'm okay with you doing that to my
Yeah, but
movie.
I agree with you, Dave. But shouldn't that conversation that happened between Ethan Hawke and the sheriff in the beginning just clue you in that they're shooting for basically the Cretans, low functioning audience. Like he goes out to that street and he's like, it's basically the dialogue's like, I'm a writer. Well, I don't like what you wrote. Well, I'm gonna have to write anyway. Okay, well, don't expect any help from me. You know what I mean? So, like, as soon as that happens, I'm aware of the type of film that I'm
That was even
watching.
a pointless scene. Like that was a pointless scene because in an actual movie that gave a fuck about its audience, they would have had that scene and then done something with it. The sheriff would have been involved in something. You know what I mean? The sheriff would have been one of Bagul's minions or some fucking shit. You know what I mean? The sheriff would have been in a cult. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Like it's missing all of these things that create actual fucking drama and why they abandoned these things. it's for stupid reasons. It's for utter. It's because fucking dumb, fucking LA fucking producer assholes with
Okay.
Rolexes.
Listen. I think there's one thing we are being very disrespectful to this film that we're missing. We are not talking about the Jesus. The way that everyone was killed. Backyard barbecue, hanging with the family, and the scenarios they're in. I mean, you can't tell me that that wasn't brilliant shit.
It was really good. I'm totally with you on that, Max.
That's all. I mean, some maniac made up those scenarios.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did that person
thing,
make
right?
up those scenarios and then give us an hour of greatness and an hour and 10 minutes of crap?
It's amazing.
It happens. You see it happen in films too. I know, dude. I know exactly, and you guys are right. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, absolutely.
I had a conversation once with Darren Busman, the guy who directed Saws 2, 3, and 4. And first off, he was very apologetic to everyone for Saws 2, 3, and 4. But he talked a lot about how the studios will fuck with everything, and how it's just such a suffocating business, you know. And even though you're the director, you really have so little input sometimes. And he's like, basically, the movies would go out there, and then he's like, I would spend a couple months in a bathtub with a bottle of gin wanting to die. Because it was just horrible. So, you know, who knows? Maybe this guy, like this director, obviously can competently direct films. You know, the first hour of this movie proves that. I'm convinced that this was just totally fucked with. That some studio douchebag came in and screwed with this. That's the only explanation.
All right, guys, let's move on. Let's bring in our